starting. It started.
Okay, perfect. The name is Joe Lockery, and the prompt for this week is, please discuss your thoughts on organizational culture. What type of culture have you experienced in the workplace? Positive, negative, engaging, entertaining, etc. If you believe that leaders are able to shape culture, and let's go ahead and start off with the Zappos video. Let's see.
I'll start.
I don't know how to lead this, so
I'll start. Cool.
Melissa, go for it.
Yeah, I really like the Zappos organizational culture. Wanted to make sure that they all felt like it was a family environment, that you were coming to work somewhere interesting and cool, and that it wasn't somewhere that you felt like you had to deal with work-life balance. I like how he said that there was a work-life integration.
Yeah.
That was interesting. There's a video also, IBM was a lot like that, as well as Google and all the other ones he named, but IBM was like that almost to the point where it was like communal. They had their own like little city where you could possibly live if you wanted. You could purchase a house, they could have child care. It was pretty much just a community within it. I thought that was a little bit extreme. I've seen that video in a prior communications class. I thought that was a little extreme. Like, I think for me, I'd rather have like my time away from this, not I work and live there, but
right.
That was cool.
Yeah. I also like the fact that the Zappos, I forget the guy's name, but that they don't have like a little community like that. Like they're like branched within the community so that they're not so like engulfed in their own, you know, business, but they're actually sort of like advertising for themselves too at the same time, you know? Let's see. I love their slogan, delivering happiness. I am like, I would love to work somewhere where like that's our agenda, like craziness. And it just seemed like a really fun place to work. Not only that, but like it was just genuine. So one of the big takeaways I got from it was, you know, we're talking about culture this week. And so the first thing that he says is like, you know, if you get the culture right, then like everything else will follow. You know, you'll get those results. You'll get, you know, worker buy-in and like all of those things. So it just really showed like the big impact of getting the culture together and the leaders' involvement in that.
Sarah, I think
Sorry, I was talking.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, it's because I muted it because of the stupid dogs. But I really like the Zappos videos because it showed positive work culture and how everyone was talking about.
I think you froze, Sarah.
You can hear? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. Now I can. Yeah.
Okay. How about now? Is it better?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it was the headphones. Did you not hear any of that? Should I repeat it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Sorry. I just really liked the videos because it was talking about their core values and how it made people of work too. They took like the values and adapted it to their life outside of work.
Right on. Yeah, like that woman and the $20 in the ice machine.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that's so true because I feel like outside of work, I'm a lot better person. Well, not that I was a bad person before, but like I try to be like a happier person, especially like when I go into stores.
Yeah.
Because service, and like I'm never rude to like customer service people ever or like waiters or anything because I know how awful it is.
Right on.
Starbucks.
Right on.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that I noticed in the Zappos video was the idea that if the company takes care of the employee will take care of the customers. And so it'll kind of trickle down in that sense. And that kind of leaves everyone with pride and ownership of their responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but the employees feel like they are trusted and valued on an individual level. And so, you know, certain things in their values really like show this, like embracing and driving change on an individual level. So like the woman with the $20 bill, she was embracing change on an individual level outside of work. And so that core value kind of followed her outside of work. And so I think that's a really good environment when your job inspires you to kind of like work when you're not working, if that makes sense.
Wow. That's how it's transformational, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. And so it brings me back to what I think Melissa said earlier about, you know, not really wanting to always be working, I guess. Earlier you mentioned something like that. I think when you have a job that, you know, is so understanding and so like you feel inspired to work for, you kind of lose that, you know, well, I want a balance. I want a separation between my work life. And that's not it for all people. I just know for myself that, you know, before I was like, I want a work life and I want a home life. And then when my job started to kind of blend in with my life, you know, I kind of felt that spark to where I was like, yeah, I could work at Starbucks when I'm not at Starbucks.
yeah.
Like I can make myself my friend's coffee and, you know, when I'm
caused the blend.
Exactly, the blend.
Like what caused that? Like what?
So connecting. So Starbucks has language within its culture. You know, so you connect, you anticipate, you own, you know, all these, you know, mantras that Starbucks, you know, their language, it kind of blended through to my life. So for an example, I was connecting with a customer. And so, you know, we were talking about personal stuff like, you know, she had cancer, my mom had cancer. And so we were connecting on that level. And then we decided to go to a walk together outside of Starbucks. And so we went to the Komen Cure walk. And so that kind of blended my values, my work values to my home values, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really awesome. It sort of gives work a bigger purpose, you know? I don't just, you know, sell coffee or make handcrafted beverages, but I'm actually impacting someone else's life and they're doing that in return. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're about the customer and you're so much interested in the customer that you're going to take it outside of work and care for them. So that's great.
That is awesome.
So do you guys want to?
Yeah, I just feel like Starbucks is like always the best example of creating culture in the workplace because they call us partners and they just have these great core values and they really take care of us with like insurance, giving us free school. So I feel like it's easy to make like Starbucks like incorporate it into your lifestyle basically, and it's a coffee shop, so there's also like the social aspect and like a lot of friends through work too. At work, like even when I'm not at work, I'm always at work or I'm at a Starbucks. I feel like it's like
Same here.
just like a lifestyle, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've worked for Starbucks for like about 10 years now. And no matter what, like there have been very few times where like the organizational culture like wasn't so positive. And that is the only time it has been negative is when like your leaders are not living up to what, you know, our CEO and living up to our mission statements and values, like the CEO's vision, you know? So it's kind of like the culture sort of shifts if they're not, you know, willing to maintain, you know, the intended values or missions or company assumptions like that. So
yeah,
I got twisted in my mind.
I know you don't work for Starbucks, so what is your outsider's perspective on, I guess, organizational culture, maybe in jobs that you've done? I know you work at a salon, so do you have any positive experience or even negative?
So most of my hair career, I've just done like where you rent a booth and you kind of just work for yourself. So it's more just go to work if you can leave. But right now I work for a company, and when I started there, we had a manager and she is super laid back. She doesn't really get involved at all. So more like a laissez-faire manager, which is great for me because I don't really need to be managed. I just go and I do hair and I leave. It's really no.
Right on.
But it it would be nice to have some culture. I mean, we do have like, you know, birthday things, and I've worked there for 3 years now, and I've made some good friends there. So we hang out outside of work, and I've made some good clients. I go to their birthday parties and their baby showers. So you know, you make connections through your clients. But for a while, we didn't have a manager at all. And when we got the new manager, we had the laissez-faire manager, and then she came in and she wanted to change everything around. And some of the women that we worked there have been there for like 20 years. So go from having the easygoing manager to this manager who was going to micromanage them, tell them how to run their book, tell them how to, if they need to double book. She was even offering to, oh, if you need to double book, I'll wash them for you or apply toner, and basically getting into the services. And a lot of people were like, no, like, this is our job. These are our clients. We want to take care of our clients. You don't get to come in and just change everything. So she didn't last very long just because no one wanted to change the culture. We liked doing our own thing and having our own system. So
right on.
Yeah, I've never really been in a company where there's like a huge culture, which I think it would be cool. But
well,
I mean, for my
company culture, like it's individualistic, right? So like everybody kind of does their own thing, are responsible for their work, their commission, all of it. And then you had the lady come in and sort of try to shift what that culture looked like, and everybody was like, what in the world? So like,
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It was
one thing I think.
Go ahead.
Sorry. One thing that I think your old manager didn't establish was credibility. They didn't, you know, gain the trust, or, you know, get the relationship, or even show their credentials to I guess earn your trust into, you know, this is how we're going to adapt with the market, or this is what we're going to do, and this is why. I don't feel like maybe you guys got that, you know, I guess credibility from the new manager. So it's like, this has always worked. They're not telling us why, we're just shifting it.
Yeah, I think as an outsider looking in at the way we work is, I think we needed something more in between. The one lady, she was super crazy. The other lady didn't do anything. And we had this one stylist. She just got fired, and she worked there for like 20 years, and she was the worst. She was like getting into everyone's business, like very much instigating issues. And the laissez-faire manager never addressed it, never stuck up. She never like went to bat for us. And I think as a manager, yeah, you don't have to be super intense like the one lady, but you need to at least establish boundaries. And she never established boundaries. She never put the lady in her place, and she let her run the place basically. And people were afraid. Clients would leave because of her. She would say derogatory terms to people. So it wasn't a good atmosphere. A lot of people were uncomfortable working there because of her. And if the manager would have stood up and made it known that it wasn't going to work out that way, then maybe we would have had a better work atmosphere until she finally got fired. So
right on.
Yeah, I think that just goes to show like how much the leadership creates the culture. You know, it's all about the leader and how they create like the standards for how everyone should act at work, if that makes sense. So if the leader is like coming in and being like, oh, I don't care, or being like crazy like that, and that's gonna affect the culture. So it's just crazy to see how much like the leadership's decisions and input like affects everyone else.
Most definitely.
I totally agree. Just like the Trump said, that the leader affects, or whatever it says. That's very true, because if she would have stuck up for it, we probably would have had a much better work atmosphere, whereas people were like uncomfortable, clients would leave, like I said. So yeah, the laissez-faire manager didn't do anything. Then the intense authoritative manager, she didn't do anything, because the other lady, they were both intense, so they both just became friends, and then they both got fired because came in because there was
We have like a minute left to close up if you guys want to add any final thoughts or anything.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's good.
Yeah.
Right?
So for closing, I definitely wanted to say, kind of back what Sarah was mentioning earlier. that effectiveness as a leader really depends on, you know, how you, I guess, as the books say, you know, put your stamp on the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, Starbucks, you know, be genuine, be welcoming. Like, these mantras, like, really do have an effect on us and your managers to, I guess, trickle down the information. So.
All right. Should I stop recording now? Okay. I'm going to end it.